Ethan Morales felt his body betray him as Ambassador Oren's iridescent blue skin shimmered in the reception area of the Norcadian vessel Celestial Harmony. The alien's melodious voice cut through the tense atmosphere. "Why is that thing between your legs rising?" Ethan's face flushed crimson as he struggled to maintain his composure. At 28, he was the youngest diplomat ever chosen to represent humanity in a first contact situation. His expertise in xenobiology and interspecies communication had made him the ideal candidate for this mission. Now, his unexpected physical reaction threatened to derail years of preparation and the future of human-Norcadian relations. The Celestial Harmony hung in Earth's orbit, its sleek design a testament to Norcadian technological superiority. Inside, human and alien officials exchanged wary glances. The Norcadian delegation's skin rippled with colors, reflecting their changing emotional states. Confusion, curiosity, and concern painted their bodies in a kaleidoscope of hues. Ethan's mind raced. He had spent hours studying Norcadian physiology, fascinated by their bioluminescent skin and its ability to change colors based on emotions. He had prepared for countless scenarios, but this was not one of them. The fate of future human-Norcadian relations hung in the balance, dependent on his ability to explain human biology without causing further embarrassment or misunderstanding. Ambassador Oren towered over Ethan, her slender form radiating an otherworldly grace. Her innocent question had silenced the room. The other Norcadians watched intently, their skins shifting through shades of blue and green, indicating a mix of curiosity and apprehension. Ethan took a deep breath, acutely aware of the weight of his responsibilities. The Norcadians possessed advanced technology that could revolutionize life on Earth, or destroy it. The outcome of this meeting would determine whether they would be allies or adversaries. As he prepared to speak, Ethan caught sight of his reflection in a nearby console. His uniform, crisp and professional, contrasted sharply with his flushed face and the visible evidence of his attraction. He silently cursed his body's betrayal, knowing that every moment of hesitation could be interpreted as a sign of hostility or deceit by the hyper-observant Norcadians. The human officials flanking Ethan shifted uncomfortably, their eyes darting between him and the Norcadian delegation. They had entrusted him with this pivotal role, and now they watched helplessly as the situation spiraled out of control. Ethan's training kicked in, reminding him of the delicate nature of first contact scenarios. He knew he had to regain control quickly to bridge the gap between human and Norcadian understanding. His expertise in xenobiology had to serve him now, not just in studying alien life forms, but in explaining human biology to a species that had never encountered it before. As the tension in the room reached a fever pitch, Ethan steeled himself. He had to find a way to turn this awkward moment into an opportunity for mutual understanding. The future of humanity's place in the galaxy depended on his next words. With a mix of scientific detachment and diplomatic tact, Ethan began to explain the intricacies of human physiology. He watched the Norcadian's skin ripple with new colors, hoping that his words would foster understanding rather than disgust or alarm. As he spoke, he grappled with his own conflicting emotions. The unexpected attraction to Ambassador Oren, and the crushing pressure of his diplomatic duties. The reception area of the Celestial Harmony had become a crucible where the fate of two species would be decided. Ethan's explanation would either pave the way for a prosperous alliance or spark a disastrous misunderstanding. As all eyes focused on him, Ethan Morales prepared to navigate the most challenging moment of his career, armed only with his knowledge, his training, and his unwavering determination to secure a peaceful future for humanity among the stars. Ethan cleared his throat, his scientific mind taking over as he pushed aside his embarrassment. "Ambassador Oren, I apologize for any discomfort I may have caused. What you've observed is an involuntary physiological response in human males. It's not intended to offend or threaten." The Norcadian skin rippled with a mix of blue and green hues, indicating curiosity. "Fascinating. Your species' biology is quite different from ours. I would very much like to learn more about these involuntary responses." Sensing an opportunity to salvage the situation, Ethan nodded. "I'd be happy to explain in more detail, Perhaps we could discuss this privately? The other diplomats exchanged glances, a mix of relief and apprehension on their faces. Ambassador Oren turned to her delegation, her skin pulsing with a soft purple light. After a brief, silent communication, she faced Ethan again. That would be acceptable. We shall adjourn to a private conference room. As Ethan and Oren left the reception area, the remaining diplomats resumed their formal discussions. Dr. Marcus Stevens, a seasoned scientist with graying hair and sharp eyes, stepped forward to present Earth's technological capabilities. In the conference room, Ethan found himself captivated by Oren's otherworldly grace. Her skin shifted through various shades of blue and purple as they talked, a mesmerizing display of alien emotion. "Tell me, Ethan Morales," Oren said, her melodious voice filled with genuine interest, "how do humans typically express attraction?" Morse, Ethan felt heat rise to his cheeks again, but maintained his composure. It varies greatly among individuals and cultures. Some might engage in specific courtship rituals, while others might simply express their feelings verbally. As their conversation progressed, Ethan found himself drawn to Oren's intelligence and unique perspective. They discussed not only biology but also delved into their respective cultures and personal experiences. "On Norcadia," Oren explained, her skin pulsing with a warm orange glow, "we have 3 distinct genders, each playing a crucial role in reproduction. Our planet's ecosystem is vastly different from Earth's, with bioluminescent flora that communicates through light patterns." Ethan leaned forward, fascinated. "That's incredible. Earth has a wide variety of ecosystems and cultures. From dense rainforests to vast deserts, each region has developed its own unique way of life." Their growing connection was abruptly interrupted by an urgent message on Ethan's communication device. His eyes widened as he read the contents. "Ambassador Oren, we need to rejoin the main delegation immediately. There's been a significant development." They hurried back to the reception area where chaos had erupted. Human and Norcadian officials were engaged in heated debates, their voices rising above one another. Dr. Stevens spotted Ethan and rushed over, his face pale. "Ethan, our long-range sensors have detected something massive approaching the solar system. It's moving at an incredible speed, and its energy signature doesn't match any known natural phenomena." Ethan's mind raced with the implications. "You think it's artificial?" Stevens nodded grimly. "It's a possibility we can't ignore. The object's size is estimated to be roughly that of Earth's moon." Ambassador Oren's skin flickered with alarm, a deep red pulsing beneath the surface. She addressed the room, her voice cutting through the chaos. "In light of this development, I propose we form a joint human-Norcadian task force to investigate this object." The suggestion was met with a mix of reactions. Some saw it as an opportunity for cooperation, while others viewed it with suspicion. A human official, his face flushed with anger, shouted, "How do we know this isn't some Norcadian trick? For all we know, that object could be part of their fleet." Ethan stepped forward, drawing on his newfound understanding of Norcadian culture. "Ambassador Oren's proposal is sound. This potential threat affects both our species. Working together gives us the best chance of understanding what we're facing." As the debate intensified, Dr. Stevens presented the preliminary data on the object. The Norcadians revealed they possessed advanced sensor technology that could provide more detailed information, but were hesitant to share it without assurances of a lasting alliance. Ethan, feeling the weight of the moment, made a bold decision. "I volunteer to join a small Norcadian crew on a scouting mission. We can gather more information about the object and demonstrate our commitment to this alliance." His proposal sent shockwaves through both delegations. The human officials huddled together, whispering furiously. The Norcadian's skin flickered with a rainbow of colors, reflecting their conflicted emotions. Ambassador Oren approached Ethan, her skin now a deep, thoughtful blue. "You would be the first human to travel beyond your solar system on one of our vessels. Are you certain you wish to take this risk?" Ethan met her gaze, his perseverance evident in his steady voice. "I am. This is bigger than any one of us. If we're going to face this unknown threat, we need to do it together." As the delegations debated the merits and risks of Ethan's proposal, Tension filled the air. The fate of Earth-Norcadian relations hung in the balance, overshadowed by the looming mystery of the approaching object. Ethan stood at the center of it all, acutely aware that his next actions could shape the future of both species. The tense atmosphere in the reception area of the Celestial Harmony shifted as Ethan's proposal sent ripples through both delegations. Human officials huddled together, their whispers a stark contrast to the kaleidoscope of colors flickering across the Norcadian skin. Ambassador Oren approached Ethan, her deep blue hue reflecting her thoughtful state. "Your offer is bold, Ethan Morales. Are you prepared for the risks this mission entails?" Ethan met her gaze steadily. "I am. This situation demands cooperation between our species." After hours of intense debate, a decision was reached. The human delegation leader, a stern-faced woman named Admiral Chen, stepped forward. "We approve Ethan's proposal with one condition. Dr. Marcus Stevens will accompany him to represent our scientific interests." Dr. Stevens, who had been observing silently, straightened his posture. "I accept this responsibility." Captain Zara, a Norcadian with shimmering green skin, introduced herself as the commander of the Luminous Voyager, the ship that would carry them on their mission. Her voice carried a hint of excitement beneath its professional tone. "We must begin preparations immediately. Time is of the essence." The next few hours passed in a blur of activity. Ethan and Dr. Stevens were ushered into a specially designed chamber where they underwent rapid training on Norcadian ship systems. Holographic displays danced before their eyes, depicting alien consoles and unfamiliar energy readings. "Pay attention to the pulse patterns," instructed a Norcadian technician, his skin flickering with impatience. "They're crucial for navigating our FTL drives." As Ethan absorbed the flood of information, he caught glimpses of the wider preparations. Earth's military forces were mobilizing, a quiet tension spreading across the globe. He overheard Admiral Chen speaking in hushed tones about keeping the public unaware to prevent panic. Finally, the moment of departure arrived. Ethan and Dr. Stevens boarded the Luminous Voyager, a sleek vessel that seemed to glow with an inner light. As they strapped into their acceleration couches, Ethan's eyes widened at the otherworldly design of the ship's interior. Captain Zara's voice came through a speaker, melodic yet authoritative. "Prepare for FTL transition. Human passengers, this may be disorienting." The ship hummed to life, and suddenly Ethan felt as if his entire body was being stretched and compressed simultaneously. Colors he had no names for flashed across his vision. Beside him, Dr. Stevens let out a strangled gasp. When the disorientation subsided, Captain Zara informed them, "We are now traveling at speeds beyond your conventional understanding. Our journey will take approximately 72 of your Earth hours." During the voyage, Ethan split his time between studying Norcadian systems and communicating with Ambassador Oren via long-range transmissions. Their conversations, initially focused on diplomatic strategies, began to touch on more personal topics. "Tell me about your homeworld, Oren," Ethan found himself asking during one such exchange. Oren's image shimmered, her skin a soft lavender. "Norcadia is a world of bioluminescent wonders. Our cities pulse with living light, and our oceans glow with creatures you would find unimaginable." As Ethan listened, captivated, he realized his initial attraction was deepening into something more profound. Oren's intellect and unique perspective challenged him in ways he had never experienced before. Their journey came to an abrupt end as Captain Zara announced their arrival at the coordinates of the mysterious object. What they saw left them speechless. "By all that shines," whispered one of the Norcadian crew members, their skin paling to a ghostly white. Before them was not a single massive entity, but a vast swarm of smaller units, each roughly the size of a small asteroid. They moved in perfect synchronization, forming a structure larger than Earth's moon. Dr. Stevens frantically worked at a console, his forehead beaded with sweat. "These readings don't make sense. The material, it's absorbing most forms of radiation. I can't get a clear scan." Captain Zara made a decision. "We need to move closer. Prepare for approach maneuvers." As the Luminous Voyager edged nearer to the swarm, the impossible happened. The swarm shifted, creating a perfect spherical void at its center. "Energy signatures detected," Dr. Stevens called out, his voice tight with excitement and fear. "It could be attempting communication, but I can't decipher it." Ethan's mind raced, drawing on his diplomatic experience and newfound understanding of Norcadian thought processes. "We need to respond," he said, turning to Captain Zara. "A joint message, using both human and Norcadian protocols. We need to convey peaceful intent." As they worked feverishly to craft their message, Dr. Stevens made a startling discovery. "These trace elements, they don't match anything in our databases. Or yours," he added, looking at the Norcadian science officer. Before they could transmit their carefully constructed message, alarms blared throughout the ship. The swarm had suddenly accelerated, closing the distance to the luminous Voyager at an impossible speed. "Evasive maneuvers," Captain Zara shouted, her skin flashing a warning red. The ship lurched, pushing Ethan and Dr. Stevens against their restraints. Through the view screen, they watched in horror as a portion of the swarm broke off, pursuing them with single-minded purpose. "We need to warn Earth," Ethan gasped, fighting against the G-forces as the ship pushed its systems to the limit. "And Norcadia, they need to know what's coming." As the luminous Voyager raced back towards Earth, carrying its crucial information and pursued by fragments of the mysterious swarm, Ethan realized that the fate of both humanity and the Norcadians now rested on their ability to outrun this unknown threat and deliver their warning in time. The ship shuddered under the strain of prolonged high-speed travel, and Ethan exchanged a grim look with Dr. Stevens. Their mission had taken an unexpected turn, and the true test of human-Norcadian cooperation was just beginning. The ship's alarms continued to blare as Captain Zara expertly maneuvered through space, her skin pulsing with a mix of concentration and urgency. Ethan gripped his seat, his squeezing hard as the luminous Voyager pushed its engines to their limits. Dr. Stevens worked furiously at his console, his fingers flying over the alien controls as he analyzed the data they had gathered. "We're maintaining our lead," Captain Zara announced, her voice taut with tension. "But our engines can't sustain this output indefinitely." Suddenly, a new alert sounded, cutting through the cacophony of alarms. A Norcadian crew member called out, their skin flickering with surprise. "Captain, we're detecting a distress signal from a nearby star system." Captain Zara's skin shifted to a deep, conflicted purple. She glanced at Ethan, who understood the weight of the decision before her. After a moment of hesitation, she ordered, "Alter course. We're investigating." As they approached the source of the distress signal, they found a Norcadian scout ship adrift in space, its hull scarred and systems failing. With practiced efficiency, the crew of the luminous Voyager executed a rescue operation, bringing aboard 3 Norcadian scientists. The lead scientist, introduced as Dr. Lyra, stumbled onto the bridge, her skin pale and flickering weakly. "Thank the eternal lights," she gasped. "We feared all was lost." As the luminous Voyager resumed its course back to Earth, Dr. Lyra shared her crucial findings. "We were studying an ancient artifact on a distant planet," she explained, her voice gaining strength. "We accidentally activated a beacon, and we believe it summoned the swarm." Ethan leaned forward, his eyes wide. "What exactly is this swarm?" Dr. Lyra's skin pulsed with a mix of excitement and fear. "We think it's a defense system created by a long-extinct advanced civilization. It's been dormant for millennia, until now." As they processed this information, the ship's sensors blared another warning. Dr. Stevens called out, his voice tight with alarm. "The swarm fragments are changing formation. They're coalescing into a single entity." On the display, they watched as the countless smaller units merged, forming a massive, cohesive structure that gained on them with terrifying speed. Captain Zara's skin flashed a deep red. "Divert all power to engines. We need every ounce of speed." Despite their efforts, it became clear that they wouldn't reach Earth before the swarm caught up. Ethan's mind raced, searching for a solution. Suddenly, an idea struck him. "The moon," he said, turning to Captain Zara. "We can use Earth's moon as a shield and staging ground for a defense." Captain Zara considered this for a moment, her skin shifting to a thoughtful blue. It's risky, but it might be our best option. Ethan quickly established communication with Ambassador Oren, who had been coordinating with Earth's leaders. He outlined his plan, stressing the urgency of their situation. "We'll be ready," Oren assured him, her image flickering with willpower. "I've been working to unite Earth's nations. We'll face this threat together." As they approached the solar system, Dr. Stevens made a breakthrough. "I've deciphered part of the swarm's communication signals," he announced, his voice filled with a mix of awe and trepidation. "It operates on a hive mind principle, and I think it might be vulnerable to targeted electromagnetic pulses." This information was quickly relayed to Earth and the Norcadian fleet, which had assembled near the moon's orbit. As the luminous Voyager entered the solar system, they saw the combined might of humanity and the Norcadians arrayed before them, forming a protective barrier around Earth. Ethan and Dr. Stevens transferred to a human vessel to coordinate the defense efforts, while Captain Zara took command of the Norcadian ships. As they settled into their new positions, the swarm entity entered view. It was a sight that stole the breath from Ethan's lungs. The swarm had reshaped itself into a colossal spherical structure, dwarfing the combined fleet. Its surface rippled and shifted, as if alive. "All ships, maintain formation," Admiral Chen's voice crackled over the comms. "Prepare to engage on my mark." Ethan worked closely with the human military leaders, integrating Dr. Stevens' insights about the swarm's vulnerabilities into their battle plans. He maintained an open channel with Ambassador Oren, who continued to coordinate global efforts on Earth. As the swarm entity entered the moon's orbit, an eerie silence fell over the fleet. Ethan felt the weight of two civilizations on his shoulders as he stood at the center of the command structure, ready to face humanity's greatest challenge. The massive sphere hung in space, its intentions unknown. Ethan watched the tactical displays, waiting for any sign of aggression. The combined fleet held its positions, human and Norcadian ships side by side, a testament to their newfound alliance. Admiral Chen's voice broke the tension. "All ships, stand ready. We don't know what this thing is capable of, but we're humanity's last line of defense. Let's show them what we're made of." As if in response to her words, the surface of the swarm began to ripple more violently. Ethan leaned forward, his heart pounding in his chest. Whatever was about to happen would shape the future of both human and Norcadian civilizations. The swarm pulsed, and a beam of energy unlike anything Ethan had ever seen lanced out toward the fleet. Moon. For a heartbeat, time seemed to stand still as the energy beam sliced through space, its brilliance outshining the stars themselves. "Evasive maneuvers." Admiral Chen's voice cracked through the comms, her composure wavering for the first time since the encounter began. The fleet scattered, ships breaking formation in a desperate bid to avoid the devastating beam. Ethan watched in horror as the energy lanced past their defenses, striking the moon's surface with catastrophic force. The impact sent shockwaves rippling across the lunar landscape, kicking up plumes of dust and debris. "All ships, regroup and prepare to engage," Admiral Chen ordered, her voice steadying. "This is not a drill. I repeat, this is not a drill." Ethan's mind raced, processing the information flooding in from all channels. He turned to Dr. Stevens, who was frantically analyzing data on his console. "Doctor, what are we dealing with here?" Stevens looked up, his face pale. "The energy readings are off the charts. It's unlike anything we've ever encountered. But there's something else." He paused, his eyes widening. "The beam's composition. It's similar to the electromagnetic patterns we detected earlier." Ethan's pulse quickened as he realized the implications. "Can we use that? Turn their own technology against them?" Before Stevens could respond, Ambassador Oren's face appeared on the main view screen. "Ethan, Captain Zara reports that the Norcadian fleet is in position. They're ready to deploy the EMP generators." Ethan nodded, his eyes hardened. "Tell her to proceed. It's now or never." As the words left his mouth, the Norcadian ships surged forward, their sleek forms gliding through space with otherworldly grace. From their hulls emerged arrays of devices, each pulsing with a soft blue light. "EMP generators active," Captain Zara's voice came through, tinged with a mix of grit and concern. Initiating pulse sequence now. The space between the fleet and the swarm entity lit up with a cascade of electromagnetic pulses. The effect was immediate and striking. The swarm's surface rippled violently, its perfect spherical form distorting as if in pain. For a moment, hope surged through the combined fleet, but their elation was short-lived. The swarm quickly began to adapt, its countless components reorganizing into a new configuration that seemed to absorb the electromagnetic assault. "It's not enough," Dr. Stevens said, his voice tight with frustration. "The swarm is adapting faster than we can disrupt it." As if to punctuate his words, the swarm launched its counterattack. Thousands of smaller units broke away from the main body, hurtling towards the defensive line with terrifying speed and precision. "All ships, defensive positions," Admiral Chen barked. "Concentrate fire on the incoming units." The space around the moon erupted into chaos. Human and Norcadian ships maneuvered in concert, their weapon systems lighting up the void. But for every swarm unit they destroyed, 2 more seemed to take its place. Ethan watched the tactical displays with growing dread. The defensive perimeter was collapsing, and with it, their hopes of protecting Earth. He turned to Admiral Chen, his mind racing. "Admiral, we need to change tactics. We can't win this through attrition." Chen looked at him, her eyes hard but not without a glimmer of desperation. "What do you suggest, Mr. Morales?" Ethan took a deep breath, an idea forming in his mind. The Norcadian ships, their propulsion systems, they're more advanced than ours, capable of manipulating gravitational fields. If we could use that to create a disturbance near the moon— He didn't need to finish the thought. Admiral Chen was already nodding, understanding dawning on her face. "It could disrupt the swarm's coordination. It's risky, but at this point, we're out of options." Within moments, the plan was relayed to Captain Zara. The Norcadian commander's response was immediate and resolute. "We'll do it. Prepare to provide cover fire." As the Norcadian fleet repositioned for their daring maneuver, Dr. Stevens called out, his voice cutting through the tension on the bridge. "I've found something. There's a pattern in the swarm's movements. It's subtle, but it's there." Ethan rushed to the doctor's side, scanning the complex data scrolling across the screen. "What does it mean?" Stevens looked up, his eyes alight with realization. "It means there's a central control node, something directing the entire swarm." The implications of this discovery weren't lost on Ethan. If they could locate and neutralize this control node, they might have a chance to end this conflict before it reached Earth. But how to reach it? As the Norcadian ships began their gravitational manipulation, causing visible distortions in space around the moon, Ethan's mind raced through possibilities. A frontal assault would be suicide. They needed something more subtle, more precise. He turned to Admiral Chen, his decision made. "Admiral, I need a small, fast ship, something that can slip past the swarm's defenses." Chen's eyes narrowed. "What are you planning, Morales?" "A covert mission," Ethan replied, his voice steady despite the gravity of what he was proposing. "A joint human-Norcadian team. We infiltrate the swarm, locate the control node, and shut it down." The Admiral's expression was a mix of disbelief and grudging admiration. "That's insane. It's also possibly our only shot." She paused, then nodded sharply. "I'll make it happen. Who do you need?" As Ethan began to outline his requirements, his gaze was drawn to the view screen where Ambassador Oren's face was still visible. Their eyes met across the digital divide, and in that moment, a wealth of unspoken emotions passed between them. Ethan knew the risks of what he was about to undertake. He also knew that the fate of 2 civilizations hung in the balance. With a silent promise to return, he turned back to the task at hand, ready to plunge into the heart of the swarm and face whatever awaited him there. Ethan's heart raced as he boarded the sleek, compact vessel designed for their covert mission. Dr. Stevens and Captain Zara followed close behind, their faces etched with dedication. The ship's engines hummed to life, a soft vibration coursing through the hull as they prepared to embark on their daring infiltration. As they launched from the human command ship, Ethan caught a final glimpse of the battle raging around them. The combined human-Norcadian fleet fought valiantly against the relentless swarm, their weapons lighting up the void of space. He swallowed hard, knowing that the fate of two civilizations now rested on the success of their mission. Captain Zara took control of the ship, her skin pulsing with a mix of concentration and anxiety as she navigated through the chaos. Swarm units whizzed past them, some coming so close that Ethan could see their intricate alien designs through the viewports. "Approaching the outer layer of the swarm," Zara announced, her voice tight with focus. "Preparing to engage the electromagnetic pulse." Dr. Stevens nodded, his fingers dancing across the control panel. "EMP charged and ready. Initiating in 3, 2, 1. A brilliant flash of energy erupted from their ship, spreading outward in a rapidly expanding sphere. The effect was immediate and striking. Nearby swarm units faltered, their coordinated movements dissolving into erratic patterns. A shimmering barrier ahead of them flickered and faded, revealing a path into the swarm's core. "It worked!" Ethan exclaimed, leaning forward in his seat. "Quick, before it recovers!" Zara needed no further encouragement. She guided their vessel through the opening with expert precision, plunging them into the heart of the swarm. The view outside shifted dramatically, from the star-studded blackness of space to a claustrophobic maze of swarm components. "Suits on," Ethan ordered as Zara brought the ship to a halt. "We don't know what kind of environment we're dealing with out there." They donned their specialized suits, each a marvel of human and Norcadian engineering. As the airlock cycled open, Ethan took a deep breath, steeling himself for what lay ahead. The interior of the swarm was unlike anything Ethan had ever experienced. Countless units swarmed around them in a dizzying dance, their movements creating currents and eddies in the space around them. The control node pulsed in the distance, a nexus of energy that seemed to draw everything towards it. "This way," Dr. Stevens called out, his voice crackling through the suit's comm system. He pointed towards the node, his handheld scanner guiding their path. They pushed forward, using their suit's propulsion systems to navigate through the chaotic environment. Swarm units brushed against them, some inert from the EMP's effects, others still active and swirling around them with unnerving speed. As they neared the control node, its true nature became apparent. It was an artifact of staggering complexity, its surface covered in intricate patterns that shifted and changed as they watched. "Fascinating," Dr. Stevens breathed, his scientific curiosity momentarily overshadowing the danger of their situation. "It's not just a control system, it's alive, in a sense." Ethan approached the node cautiously. Drawing on years of diplomatic experience, he activated his suit's external speakers and began to transmit a series of signals, a combination of human and Norcadian communication protocols. For a tense moment, nothing happened. Then, to their amazement, the node responded. Patterns of light danced across its surface, and a stream of data began to flow into their suit systems. "It's talking to us," Ethan said, his voice filled with wonder. Dr. Stevens worked frantically to process the information. "It's a defense system created eons ago by an advanced alien race, but something went wrong with its programming. It sees all advanced civilizations as potential threats." Ethan's mind raced, processing the implications of this revelation. "We need to reprogram it," he said, turning to Captain Zara. "Can you do it?" Zara's skin rippled with a mix of uncertainty and resolution. "I can try, but it won't be easy, and we don't have much time." As if to emphasize her point, a massive tremor ran through the swarm structure. Through their communication link, they heard Ambassador Oren's urgent voice. "Ethan, the swarm is powering up some kind of weapon. It's aimed directly at Earth. Whatever you're going to do it fast." With renewed urgency, they set to work. Captain Zara interfaced with the node, her advanced knowledge of alien technology guiding her as she began the delicate process of altering its core protocols. Ethan and Dr. Stevens provided support, feeding her information and helping to interpret the node's responses. As they worked, the swarm around them began to react. Some units started to malfunction, their movements becoming erratic. Others seemed to power down entirely, drifting lifelessly in the space around them. "It's working," Dr. Stevens said, excitement creeping into his voice. "The swarm is responding to the changes in the control node." But their success brought new dangers. The shifting behavior of the swarm created turbulence within the structure, threatening to tear them away from the node. Ethan grunted with effort as he fought to maintain his position. Just as Captain Zara neared completion of the reprogramming, a sudden surge of energy pulsed through the node. Warning alarms blared in their suits as systems began to overload. "The power fluctuations are too much," Zara called out, her voice strained. "I can't stabilize the connection." In that moment, Ethan made a decision. Without hesitation, he reached for his suit's power coupling. "Use my suit's power source," he said, his voice steady despite the gravity of what he was proposing. "It should be enough to stabilize the process." "Ethan, no!" Dr. Stevens protested. "Without power, you'll be stranded here." But Ethan had already made up his mind. With a swift motion, he disconnected his suit's power source and linked it to the node interface. The surge of energy was immediate, allowing Zara to complete the reprogramming. As the new protocols took hold, the swarm's behavior changed dramatically. The weapon aimed at Earth powered down, and the countless units began to reconfigure themselves into a non-threatening formation. Their victory, however, was short-lived. The rapid transformation of the swarm created chaos within its structure. Massive shock waves rippled through the space around them, threatening to tear them apart. "We need to get back to the ship," Dr. Stevens yelled over the din. But as they turned to leave, they realized the gravity of their situation. Ethan's suit, now without power, was dead weight in the turbulent environment. Captain Zara and Dr. Stevens struggled to support him as they fought against the current of swarm units. Their ship, once a beacon of safety, now seemed impossibly far away. As they battled against the chaos of the disintegrating swarm, the future remained uncertain. They had saved Earth, but at what cost? With Ethan's fate hanging in the balance and their own survival far from assured, they pressed on, hoping against hope for a miracle in the heart of the alien swarm. Their survival hung by a thread as they struggled against the chaotic currents of disintegrating alien technology. Suddenly, a powerful beam of light cut through the debris, illuminating their path. A sleek vessel, its hull a blend of human and Norcadian design, emerged from the chaos. The rescue team had arrived. "Ethan!" Ambassador Oren's voice crackled through their comm systems. "Hold on, we're coming for you." Captain Zara and Dr. Stevens redoubled their efforts, propelling themselves and the unconscious Ethan towards the rescue ship. As they neared the airlock, a Norcadian crew member reached out, pulling them to safety. Once inside, the ship's medical team swarmed around Ethan. His skin was pale, his breathing shallow. The lead medic, a human doctor named Kira Chen, barked orders as they rushed him to the medbay. "Oxygen levels critical, multiple system failures. We need to stabilize him now." Ambassador Oren watched, her face etched with concern, as the medical team worked feverishly to save Ethan's life. She turned to Captain Zara and Dr. Stevens, who were being tended to by other crew members. "What happened in there?" she asked, her voice tight with worry. Dr. Stevens, his eyes never leaving the medbay door, explained the situation. "The swarm, it was a defense system gone rogue. We managed to reprogram it, but the process was unstable. Ethan, he sacrificed his suit's power to complete the reprogramming." Oren's eyes widened. "He what?" Before she could press for more details, the ship shuddered violently. The pilot's voice came over the intercom, urgency clear in his tone. "Ambassador, the swarm is collapsing at an accelerating rate. We need to leave now." Oren rushed to the bridge, her diplomat's composure momentarily shaken. Through the view screen, she watched as the massive swarm structure began to break apart, debris spinning off in all directions. "Get us out of here," she ordered, her voice steady despite the chaos unfolding before them. The Norcadian pilot, his skin rippling with concentration, guided the ship through the disintegrating swarm. His hands danced over the controls, weaving a path through the debris field with uncanny precision. As they burst free of the collapsing structure, a brilliant flash lit up space behind them. The swarm, the ancient defense system that had threatened two civilizations, was no more. But their ordeal was a long way to go. As they sped towards Earth, fragments of the swarm began to rain down on the planet and its moon. Oren watched in horror as the pieces, some as large as buildings, streaked through Earth's atmosphere. She activated the ship's communication system. "This is Ambassador Oren to all Earth Defense Forces. We have a Level 1 debris situation. I repeat, Level 1 debris situation. Activate all available countermeasures immediately." As the ship entered Earth's atmosphere, Oren could see the global defense systems coming online. Lasers fired from ground-based stations, vaporizing the smaller fragments. For the larger pieces, interceptor missiles launched, exploding in brilliant flashes against the night sky. They touched down at a joint human-Norcadian facility, a state-of-the-art complex that had been hastily assembled in the wake of the swarm crisis. As soon as the ship's ramp lowered, a medical team rushed aboard, whisking Ethan away on a hovering stretcher. Oren followed close behind, her heart racing. She watched as they wheeled him into an advanced medical bay, a seamless blend of human and Norcadian healing technologies. Dr. Kira Chen approached Oren, her face grave. "Ambassador, I won't lie to you. Ethan's condition is critical. The next few hours will be crucial." Oren nodded, swallowing hard. "Do whatever it takes, doctor. Whatever it takes." As the medical team worked to save Ethan's life, Oren found herself drawn to a nearby window. Outside, she could see teams of scientists and soldiers scrambling to contain and collect the fallen swarm fragments. In the distance, more debris continued to fall, each piece a potential treasure trove of alien technology or a ticking time bomb. Her comm unit buzzed, displaying an incoming call from Earth's United Council. Taking a deep breath, Oren steeled herself for the difficult conversations ahead. The swarm might have been defeated, but the repercussions of this event were only beginning to unfold. As she prepared to answer the call, Oren cast one last glance at the medical bay, where Ethan lay fighting for his life. In that moment, she silently vowed to see this crisis through, for Earth, for the Norcadians, and for the man who had risked everything to save them all. The future of two civilizations hung in the balance, and Ambassador Oren found herself at the center of it all. With a mix of willpower and trepidation, she answered the call, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. As Ambassador Oren answered the call from Earth's United Council, the rescue ship docked at the joint human-Norcadian medical facility on the moon. The moment the airlock opened, a team of medical professionals rushed aboard, their movements swift and precise. Dr. Kira Chen led the team, her voice steady as she issued rapid-fire instructions. "Patient is in critical condition. Prepare the hybrid medbay for immediate treatment." Ethan, still unconscious, was carefully transferred to a hovering stretcher. His skin was pale, almost translucent, and his breathing shallow. As they rushed him through the facility's gleaming corridors, Oren followed close behind, her skin flickering with worry. The medical bay was a marvel of human and Norcadian technology. Sleek, silvery equipment hummed with energy, while holographic displays projected real-time data on Ethan's vital signs. Dr. Chen and her team worked tirelessly, their hands moving with practiced efficiency as they connected Ethan to various life support systems. Despite their own injuries, Dr. Stevens and Captain Zara insisted on assisting. Their unique knowledge of Ethan's exposure to the swarm technology proved invaluable. "The energy signature from the control node," Dr. Stevens explained, his voice hoarse with exhaustion. "It's unlike anything we've seen before. We need to account for potential cellular alterations." Captain Zara nodded, her skin rippling with concentration as she interfaced with the Norcadian medical equipment. "I'm detecting unusual neural activity. It's as if his brain is rewiring itself." For the next 72 hours, Ethan underwent a series of groundbreaking treatments. Human surgical techniques were combined with Norcadian regenerative therapies. Nanobots, guided by AI algorithms, worked at the cellular level to repair damage and enhance healing. As the hours ticked by, something extraordinary began to happen. Ethan's body, altered by the intense energy exposure from the swarm's control node, started exhibiting unusual healing properties. Wounds closed at an accelerated rate, and damaged tissues regenerated faster than the medical team had ever seen. Dr. Chen stared at the readings in amazement. "It's incredible. His cellular structure is adapting, becoming more resilient. It's almost as if..." As if he's evolving, Dr. Stevens finished, his eyes wide with wonder. Throughout the ordeal, Oren remained by Ethan's side. She watched, her hand gently placed on his, as he drifted in and out of consciousness. Each time his eyes flickered open, they sought her out, a faint smile touching his lips, before he slipped back into healing sleep. While Ethan fought for his life on the moon, Earth experienced a technological renaissance. Scientists from around the world worked tirelessly to unravel the secrets of the fallen swarm fragments. Research facilities buzzed with activity as new discoveries were made daily. Dr. Yuki Tanaka, a leading materials scientist, held up a small, shimmering piece of the swarm. The molecular structure of this material is unlike anything we've ever seen. Its properties could revolutionize everything from construction to space travel. In energy labs, researchers made breakthrough after breakthrough. Dr. Carlos Mendoza grinned as he watched a prototype reactor come online. This new fusion process is 10 times more efficient than our previous best. Clean, unlimited energy is no longer a dream. It's a reality. The global community, once divided by the threat of the swarm, now united in a collaborative effort to responsibly harness this new knowledge. International borders blurred as scientists, engineers, and policymakers worked together towards a common goal. 2 weeks after the rescue, Ethan fully regained consciousness. As his eyes focused, he saw Oren's iridescent blue form shimmer with joy. Their eyes met, and without words, they understood the depth of their connection. Ethan reached out, his hand brushing against Oren's bioluminescent skin. A cascade of colors rippled across her body. Deep purples of relief, bright yellows of happiness, and a warm, pulsing red that Ethan instinctively knew meant love. "You're here," Ethan whispered, his voice rough from disuse. Oren's skin flickered with soft blues and greens. "Always," she replied, her voice carrying the musical quality unique to Norcadians. In the days that followed, as Ethan regained his strength, he and Oren spent countless hours together. They shared their experiences, their fears, and their hopes for the future. Ethan learned to interpret the subtle color changes in Oren's skin, gaining a deeper understanding of Norcadian emotional expression. One evening, as they watched Earth rise over the lunar landscape, Ethan turned to Oren. "I've been thinking about what happened with the swarm, about the misunderstanding that nearly led to war." Oren's skin rippled with attentive blues. "What conclusions have you drawn?" "We need to do more," Ethan said, his eyes bright with purpose. "Not just humans and Norcadians, but all sentient species. We need to reach out to understand each other, to prevent more misunderstandings before they can turn into conflicts." Oren's skin pulsed with agreeing greens. "A noble goal, but how do you propose we achieve it?" Ethan smiled, taking Oren's hand in his. "Together, we'll show the universe what can be accomplished when different species work as one." As Ethan's recovery progressed, plans were set in motion for a grand ceremony at the United Nations headquarters in New York. It would be a celebration of Earth's successful defense and the strengthening of the human-Norcadian alliance. The day of the ceremony arrived, a month after the swarm incident. Ethan and Oren, now inseparable, led the procession into the Grand Assembly Hall. Delegates from every nation on Earth, as well as a large Norcadian contingent, filled the room. As they approached the podium, Ethan felt a familiar stirring. Oren, now well-versed in human biology, noticed the change in his physiology. She leaned close, her voice a teasing whisper. "Why is that thing between your legs rising?" Ethan, no longer embarrassed but filled with affection, replied softly, "Because I'm in love with you." Oren's skin erupted in a brilliant display of colors, reds, golds, and shimmering purples. The audience, witnessing this intimate exchange, broke into spontaneous applause. They were celebrating not just the victory over the swarm, but the beautiful union of two different species. As the applause died down, Ethan began his address to the assembled leaders and dignitaries. His voice rang out clear and strong, filled with passion and conviction. "Today we stand at the dawn of a new era, an era of unprecedented cooperation, not just between humans and Norcadians, but potentially with countless other species across the galaxy. The threat we faced has shown us the strength we possess when we stand united. but it has also shown us how much we still have to learn. Ethan paused, his gaze sweeping across the audience before settling on Oren. Her skin shimmered with pride and love. That is why I am proud to announce the formation of a new joint human-Norcadian exploration initiative. Our mission will be to peacefully contact other alien civilizations, to expand our intergalactic community. We will reach out with open hands and open minds, seeking to understand and be understood. The assembly hall erupted in cheers and applause. As the excitement settled, Ethan and Oren revealed their plans to personally lead the first joint human-Norcadian deep space mission. Their announcement was met with another round of enthusiastic approval. As the ceremony concluded, Ethan and Oren found themselves surrounded by well-wishers and reporters. Questions flew from all directions about their mission, their relationship, and the future of human-Norcadian relations. Amidst the flurry of activity, Ethan caught Oren's eye. Without words, they shared a moment of quiet understanding. Whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together. A bridge between two worlds, opening the door to a new era of interstellar cooperation and romance.
You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.